This business was meant for our dreams to happen. And you know who that's for? That's for every single one of you.
I'm just going to play offense and see the best version of myself. And you're seeing the best version of PHP today.
You've never been in a better time to be in business and to make a difference in this country that we live in today.
You got to put yourself in a position to be able to work when nobody's looking and understand that nobody defines you but you.
You're going to do this. This is the next industry. Everybody's going to do this. I'm going to be a millionaire.
I wanted to do something big. I wanted to be the best version of myself.
You stick to this game long enough, everything you dream of will become reality.
It really is how bad you want it.
The number one question is asking, who do you want to be?
And we're live, Matt.
What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. And I'm excited about this first ever episode 1 podcast, PHP Agency Podcast. And for many of you, you might recognize me, this face right here, as a host of the 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel. But my day job is running a business in the insurance industry upon the platform of PHP Agency. And today we kick off our first ever podcast. So welcome to our inaugural episode 1 of the PHP Agency Podcast, a podcast that will educate, entertain, and expose you to our world of entrepreneurship in the life insurance industry. And today we're going to be talking about the economy, the financial services industry, while highlighting our superstars within PHP Agency who went from ordinary to extraordinary. And who am I talking about? My guests today. Let me bring up our first star, hailing to you from LA by way of Compton, California, now relocated to the East Coast, running an office in the DMV area. That, for some of you guys, that's not the real DMV, like going to get your car driver's license, but the DMV area being Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area on the East Coast. Former Apple executive turned insurance industry entrepreneur, making $400,000, $500,000 in income on a yearly basis. Do we have Chris Hart with us? Chris, are you with us, brother?
Yes, sir, man. I'm here, man. I'm excited about today. It's going to be a blast having this podcast and the first ever podcast for PHP. I'm excited to bring some value, man. Have some great conversations about the industry.
Outstanding. And our superstar today went from El Salvador. By the way, guys, this guy doesn't swim like normal people. He's a fish, right? He was on the El Salvadorian, he's a world-class swimmer. Went to a very, very prestigious school in El Salvador, got himself an economics degree, found himself in America working loss prevention at Target. That's security guard, everybody. And just wow you with his resume, joining us today by way of Houston, Texas, first generation cash flow millionaire, Rodolfo Vargas. Are you with us, brother?
I'm here, Matt. Can you hear me okay? I'm excited to be here. You know, when you were telling the story, I'm going to tell you is I couldn't wait to hear that because it's exciting the way that you say it, the cash flow millionaire. But I'm excited to be here in the podcast, first ever podcast, PHP Podcast, and ready to rock and roll with you guys.
And by the way, for many of you joining us for the very first time today, thank you so much for our PHP family is with us. If you may not even be a part of PHP Agency, but you want to learn more about financial services, you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, you want to learn more about becoming financially free and financially independent by way of the life insurance industry, check us out, get to know us. And if you are part of the PHP Agency family, I'd love, or if you're watching this podcast right now, Tigran doesn't know I'm doing this, but I love to give a handout, a free giveaway. The person who shares this the most, the person that shares this podcast with the most profiles, we'll count and we'll select somebody as a winner of a book from our CEO founder, Patrick Bet-David. This is a Wall Street Journal best-selling book, #1 on the list, Your Next 5 Moves. And not only is it a book, but it's also signed. It was signed by Patrick Bet-David on 9/11, the first time I appeared on his Bet-David podcast back in September 9/11. So the person who shares this podcast the most will get a book from me, from us to you, for those who share this the most, that shares this podcast the most. And we want to make sure you tag PHP Agency in your sharing of this podcast. So with that being said, we're talking about ordinary to extraordinary lives. Fellas, we just came back from Maui a few weeks ago. Chris, ever been to Hawaii before?
No, it was my first time, man. First time. It's crazy to think that PHP made that possible for not only me, for my wife, my 2 kids, my mother-in-law, and we brought about 8 people from our team with us from our agency. And so, 14 people for the first time going to Hawaii on PHP's dime. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat it.
Yeah, right. The best time to travel the world is when somebody else pays for it.
Absolutely.
And that's what PHP Agency just did, not only for yourself, but you just mentioned 8 people. You said 8 people on your team that went together with you.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So we had 8 team members from our agency come with us. Had a blast, man. I believe you might show some content from that event, man. My tan's wearing off. I have sort of a natural tan too, so but that Maui tan was phenomenal for sure.
The melanin don't come off you, brother.
It don't come off. It's safe.
Rodolfo, what about yourself, brother? I know you had not only yourself, your family, your son, your nanny was with you. Thank goodness, right? That you had some help, but you had a lot of your team members there also, because you represent the WTP organization. So Rodolfo, what was your experience in Maui?
Yeah, the WTP means we the people. That's the name of our team. But yeah, we took 50 people from our team. 50 people we have over there, including couples and the family. You know what's exciting? I see my son, right? And there was Paul. Paul was taking picture to my son, and he's walking on the sand. And I'm like, I see my son, and I see him. Just natural for him. He's not even 2 years old, and he's swimming in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Well, he's taking a picture like he's royalty, and it's exciting to see the family having fun. It's exciting to see my wife, which she's pregnant, and we're about to have our 2nd kid. So Hawaii was a blessing for everybody in the team. And we're excited to come back. We're excited to the next trips. By the way, this is Hawaii. We're about to go to Bora Bora. Then we're about to go to, we've been everywhere. We go to Caribbean, we go everywhere. Then we're going to go to Monaco, France. I mean, tell me, does it get any better than this?
That's it. That's the PHP life. So before our Mauitian tan, because we went to Maui, before our Mauitian tan continues to wear off, I believe we got a clip to share a little bit of the highlight about what we all experienced in Maui at the Hyatt Regency. And they were so happy to have us because we were the first company to come in there to help reopen the Maui economy. So why don't we take a quick look at this clip? Paul, roll tape, please.
Losers get butthurt.
About to go down.
And to be living in this space now, she came in when she was a young kid. She had the opportunity to bring her mother to Hawaii. And we're sitting here on a boat, we're having a good time off the coast of Maui. We're snorkeling, looking at turtles in the ocean. And to be all the way from Cameroon, Africa, across the globe to Hawaii, all because she chose entrepreneurship. Even for myself, coming full circle, being from Compton, California, a guy who never thought that I could ever achieve success in entrepreneurship. You know, I was taught as a young guy, man, to go to school, good grades, get a job, and that's a good life for you. And to be in Hawaii with my kids, Rodolfo mentioned his son being 2, my son's 4, my daughter's 6. My in-laws are there hanging out for a good time. Absolutely a free vacation, right? A free vacation in Maui. It really allows you to understand, man, when you can choose a different path and say, hey, man, maybe entrepreneurship is something that's out there for me. Maybe it's an option for me to choose, and to really see that it's endless. And to Vargas's point, where we're going next, outside of Hawaii, Bora Bora, Paris, France, Monaco. It's exciting to see, man, when you work hard and put your head down and focus on something and stay in one industry, what can happen for you.
So Chris, I mean, you're under the school, you're in the same camp as all of us. You never thought you'd get involved in the insurance industry.
No, never, man. I mean, a guy like me, no, never, man. I mean, I remember I was first introduced. I was working at Apple and making good income. And I thought, life insurance agent, man, who sells life insurance? Where I'm from, no offense, but old white guys sell life insurance where I'm from. That's what it is. Like, you know, you got your briefcase and you got the suit, you're walking, knocking on doors. Millennials don't sell life insurance. But as I got introduced to the industry, I realized that, you know what? There's a huge vacuum here, a huge diversity vacuum. You've got these large companies, right, who have $1 billion problem. They have a hard time accessing people who look like me, talk like me, act like me. And so someone like myself can say, hey, as a minority, as a millennial, as a Gen Xer, as a Gen Z, as a female, there's a huge need for these demographics in our industry can come in and say, hey, let me consider an industry that's noble, that allows you to educate my community. And on the back end of it, the second highest paid industry by professional athletes. It goes LeBron James, boop, financial services. And so I took that risk, and it definitely paid off.
That's outstanding. So Rodolfo, I want to hear from you, brother. You came from El Salvador. You know, you're telling me what the average person makes in El Salvador, which I couldn't believe the average person in El Salvador makes that type of money. But did you tell everybody the university you went to? Because I can't pronounce it, the university you went to. And then also, did you ever think you also would ever be a life insurance agent?
Never. You know, like you said, Matt, I grew up in El Salvador. Okay, I'm an immigrant. I'm telling you, big country is beautiful. I love the country. And I had a very, my family, my parents, they make sure that I had a very good education. I do the sports and I go to this school. I graduated from a high school and I go directly to college, and I go to this university where the top university for economics. And I'm excited. I'm going to school. I graduated from a school, and my family, they were living in Los Angeles. So I said, hey, I think I'm gonna go there because I graduated from a school, and I was struggling in a certain type of my life, not necessarily because of you know, when El Salvador is going through a different economics problem, and it's not necessarily economics. We went to a war, 12-year war. So I grew up with the war, meaning I was born in 1984. The war ended in 1992. So the country was in the transition. So there was some opportunities, but my family were living in Los Angeles. They were living in California. The war ended. We were trying to get afloat. There was some crime over there. So the opportunity happens, and I came into the US thinking that I was going to go to school. So thinking, you know what? I received very good education in El Salvador. You know what? Maybe I can go to university in the US. That was my dream. My entire dream was, you know, in El Salvador, we used to watch movies. And we used to watch a movie. We watched a series, you know, the Wonder Years, the person going to high school. We see this guy graduating from the university, and you see all these movies. And my dream was, one day I'm going to go to the US and I'm going to graduate from Harvard, from Yale, from UCLA, from USC, from all these great universities. And I come into the US, and I find out that was not my reality. I found out, my gosh, this is so expensive. There is no way we can afford it. There is no way my family can afford it. My mom was working as a nurse in a hospital. My dad was trying to do some businesses, and I see my parents, I have my younger brother, my younger sister. They're very smart. They're going to go to university. I have an older sister. She has special needs. And I meet one day with my mom, and meeting with her, and I say, Mom, I think I want to go to university. Mama look at me and said, you're 22 years old. Like, really? What are you thinking? Like, you already graduated from El Salvador. You need to go have a job. And one day, my mom says, listen, son, you need to go find a job. Leave, find a job. And I found this job as a security guard. I don't know how I started working as a security guard, but I was working as a security guard. And then all of a sudden, I found this opportunity. While I was working as a security guard, give it or take, I was making maybe $17,000 a year, maybe less. And I'm listening to the presentation. They're telling me that you can become an entrepreneur, you can get an insurance. And I see a lot of people making six figures. And in my mind, only people who graduate from a school can make six figures a year.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can see these people, man, I'm not graduated from a school. So, and in the US, so I'm looking at this guy making 100,000, 200,000, $500,000. And I'm looking at them and I say, oh my gosh. And I'm wondering, what school did you go? What university did you go? Say, I didn't go to university. I just become an entrepreneur. Really? So you're telling me that myself, I don't speak English. I didn't graduate from the university over here in the US. You're telling me that I can make that much money that you can make. And thank God, last year, we're about to cross $10 million in top line revenue. We're netting 1.2, 1.3 million. And it's insanity what can happen to entrepreneurship with the right company, right system, and right leadership. So that's kind of the story. And for me to tell you, when you were asking Chris Hart about his background and everything he gone through, if you were to ask me, Rodolfo, you ever thought about one day, people see me on the Lamborghini. People say, do you ever thought about one day you will have a Lamborghini? You think ever one day you will have you will make millions of dollars? Not in a million years. Not in a million years. Especially in an industry that I never done sales. Nobody in my family has ever owned a life insurance, a 401k, an IRA, saving, nothing. I don't come from this country. I don't speak the same language. I love the country where I come from. I love America. I love where we're going. But thanks to the opportunity of entrepreneurship. That's the reason why I'm here.
Folks, we're gonna dive right into that topic, which I like to bring up because many times people say in the United States of America, we have got something called the American dream. Okay? Rodolfo had an American dream, Chris Hart had an American dream. You watching this right now, you've got the American dream. And by the way, just as a side note, we're about to cross 300 live viewers on this. So let's keep sharing this podcast so we can cross our first ever mile marker, 300 shares. Tweet this, reshare this, put this on your podcast. I appreciate you guys. And by the way, if we got to find some way to give shout outs to those giving us comments on the chat box. There's so many comments here. I appreciate you guys interacting. But let me ask you this question. The American dream for a lot of people: go to school, buy a house, or buy a car, buy a house. Okay? That's how you kind of set yourself up for America. But consider this, everybody watching this. Going to school, sadly, that goes through the journey of what? Debt. Student loan debt. You got to navigate that. Number two, want to buy a car? Well, if you had debt here, most likely you don't have a down payment to get your car. So, or cash, you buy a car, cash outright. So guess what you got to go into? Debt. And then most likely you don't have, I think the average home price today listed is $275 across America, depending on your city and state. I mean, in Texas or where Rodolfo is. Rodolfo, what's in Houston for the average single family home in Houston, Texas? And Chris, I'm gonna ask you the same question. What's like there in the DMV? What's the average home for have a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Houston, Texas? What is it listing for? What do they sell for?
Well, depending what city you choose to, you can get a very beautiful home at 200,000, 250,000. You can get a beautiful home in the suburbs. Houston is top of the line in real estate. It's top of the line in real estate, and you can have different. You have the city, you have the suburbs. There are cities like Katy, cities like Sugar Land, like in the suburbs of Houston. You can get a very beautiful home.
Okay.
150, 200, 250,000.
Okay. What about you, Chris Hart, there in the DMV?
Different story here, Matt, in the DMV. We're not in Texas, man. So medium price for a house here in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, right around between 350K, 350K to 400K. So you got to realize you got government jobs here. 6 out of the top 10 wealthiest counties in the world fall in our backyard. Between Virginia, you got Maryland here, you got Georges County, you got Fairfax County, you got Anne Arundel County. So like you're saying, man, like that's debt, and we're told to, hey, out of college, man, go get a house and go into debt $400,000 without the down payment you need for that home and for our house for it.
That's it. And by the way, for those of you watching this live, what does the average home price in your city and state look like? Put it in the chat box. I'm curious. What does the average home price listed in your area for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house? What does the average home price go for in your city and state across the United States of America? And for here in Chicago, $200,000, Rodolfo, will get you a condo. It'll get you 600, 800 square feet, 1-bedroom, 2-bed condo, somewhere around there. So different story here in the city of Chicago. The reason why I share all this, the things that we're sold as the American dream, which was school, car, house, and then married to get kids. The first 3 is what? Going into some form of debt, getting some form of debt. So with that being said, I'm going to pull up this this website here. I want to share this with you guys on the college degrees that give you the highest probability of making the most amount of money. So therefore you can afford a home and hopefully the least amount of debt. So right here, top paying careers by median salary. Engineering. Now, Rodolfo, what was the name of the university you went to, and are you good at math?
It's called SEN, Escuela Superior de Economía y Negocios.
School of Economy and Business. Awesome. Yeah. So did you have to be fairly decent in math?
You have to. You know, we have this test, by the way. Let me tell you this fact. We have this test. You know how in the US we have the SAT? We have the SAT. Over there, we have this test called the PAES. PAES is like similar to the SAT. And you needed to score like the top of the SAT comparison over there to go to those schools.
Yep.
And very difficult to get in.
That's it. Well, you, Chris, were you good? Were you good at math?
Not at all. Matt, I actually failed college algebra 3 times. I just couldn't figure it out. I mean, these linear equations, I'm like, Mom, do I need linear equations in life? So I'm a college dropout. And I think college is great for many people. But I think those salaries, Matt, I think that my wife and I are 3X in those salaries. 3X in those salaries are our income now as an entrepreneur. And we're just getting started here in our industry. And what's crazy about it is this: those individuals with the school for 4, 6 years, have a master's in engineering, they're capped out at 180K, 200K in income. And I think about what's happening in our country, the shift taking place right now. Just a little less than a year ago, our former President Trump passed an executive order for government jobs placing a higher importance on skills, not degrees, on skills. We think about the endowment of Harvard University, Stanford. These are billion-dollar institutions that are taking loans from an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old who's going in debt $100,000 and saying, hey, Mom, I'm going to go study journalism, engineering at 18 years old. 22 comes around, they're in debt $100,000. And so I think there's definitely a shift taking place when it comes to Gen Zs and millennials looking at other alternative options out there and saying, man, maybe school is not for me. Maybe that debt's not for me. And do I need to learn how linear equations work in order to make money in America? I don't think so.
you know, Matt, let me on the math. I think that I love math, and I think that math helped me a lot in life and in business. Now, let me tell you this story. So there is this couple who works with me, Chris and Erica Cobb. So Erica graduated from Purdue, engineer degree, okay?
Yeah.
And she was, you know, I'm in Houston, so a lot of businesses, a lot of oil and gas companies. So I meet with her first time, right? And she's extremely well-spoken, very well-educated, engineer from Purdue, okay? So I meet with her, and I said, we're getting a conversation, we're getting to know each other. When I met her, I was making about, she was making 6 figures, 100,000. And she asked me, so what's your income? And I said, I'm about 100,000 per month. And she's looking at me. Per month. So
Wait,
I was having this conversation.
Chris, did you see his face? Did you see his face?
But I'm explaining to her, like, and listen, but I was not like this. But she asked me, so what's your income? And I said, I make 100,000 per month. How much money you make? She makes 100,000. But here's what's going on with her. Her husband, he was working with another company, making about $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year. She was making six figures, and they come with me, and I'm meeting with them with all their knowledge and a skill level. So I'm getting to know them, right? Yep. She was in a very influential in the university, in everything in her community, both of them. And I meet with them, and I said, with your knowledge, with everything that you know, you get into an industry like this. If I can make $100,000 a month, you can go kill it. You can be bigger than me. Guess what? They working with me. After 1 year of working with me, they make the first time $42,000 in a month. $42,000 in a month. A month, yes. This month they're crossing. This is when after 1 year, they're about to be a year and a half of working with me. Okay, and what is excited is maybe I'm an engineer. Maybe I've gone to university. Maybe I went to university, but I need to be using those skills into maybe not only having a job, but I can also have a business on the side. Maybe if it is not insurance, maybe I can do real estate. Maybe I can do flipping homes. Maybe I can do if whatever it is. My suggestion for her when I meet with her is, whatever you are, you're a leader. Whatever you are, you're a leader. Why don't you try something else and you use your skills? You use those skills. That's in one way when I'm telling you, what people that go to university use those. I don't know if you're using those God-given abilities that you have. I don't know if you're using to the max. And the other point is this: she's working with her husband. Okay, her husband is a killer. He's gonna be extremely successful. I believe in them a lot. And you know what I find out? She didn't know how great her husband was. And he didn't know how great she was. You know, Ceci, my wife, she's an architect. She went to school to graduate in the school in El Salvador, an architect. She's very well educated. And her dad is a doctor and all kind of good stuff. But Ceci used to tell me stuff that she was good at it. I didn't know that. Until we started working together, I find out how great she was. And she tells me stuff. I didn't know that you were that good either. No, she doesn't say that often, but I tell her that so often. I tell her, I didn't know how great you were, Ceci. So look at this. Both of them educated, professional, working together. They're not only killing the money, they're making a lot of money, but they're working together as couples.
It's a beautiful thing. Together in couples. And here's the thing too as well. The American dream. They both have a career, right? 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever they decide to leave for work, one goes one direction, the typical couple in America. One leaves one direction and the other one leaves the other direction. And the conversation, I'll see you tonight for dinner. See each other tonight for dinner. You see each other for dinner, a few hours together, right? Whatever. And then they have kids, and that even gets even more shrunk down. They get to bed around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And that happens. But a majority of their day is spent where? Apart.
Separate.
Correct. And then a lot of people wonder why 20, 25 years later, they look at each other. If they didn't work on their marriage more proactively, they wonder, who are you? Who are you? You know why? Because they grew apart. They had different interests. They got pulled in two different directions. Now, I'm not saying that about every married couple, but I'm saying that happens a good share of a lot of people. And if there's one thing that's under attack in America, it's marriages, the divorce rate. And so a lot of people aren't thinking that it's worthwhile to get married today. And if you're watching this podcast, I'm married. Rodolfo's married. Chris Hart is married. And we're working together with both of our spouses together in business. Chris, let's talk about your experience. College, American dream. What's your story?
My story, man. So like I said, dropped out of college, failed college algebra 3 times. And what I found that for many of us, the American dream, it's changing, it's shifting. And Rodolfo mentioned skills, right? Skills. So you had 2 individuals that were college graduates, engineers. They transfer those skills and leadership into our industry. And look what happens here. I'm working in an area, Matt, and you're familiar with this. You're having military experience. with a lot of guys from Fort Meade over here, Fort Belvoir, the Naval Academy here. And one of my top guys I'm working with here, Bill Corman, Bill and Kimberly Corman. Bill Corman, 21 years military, Navy experience, E9. When I met him, he's working at the Naval Academy Hospital here in Annapolis.
E9? I didn't know it was an E9, really?
E9, he's pretty high out there, yeah.
He's a master chief petty officer or something like that.
Absolutely. So guys, think of the leadership skills, the level of sacrifice, 21 years of service, chain of command, leading troops across the country, across the world. He takes those skills and says, hey, I've been deployed to different nations, brings them to entrepreneurship. Within 2 years of work with me, he's at $380K in income. I think about a guy named Marcus Anderson here in the DMV, 13 years military, 10 years special forces, 13 years total military. If you can command a man to go to war and defend our country, and for lack of better words, take up arms against other people, right? To defend our borders, right? You could lead people to go serve families. Regardless if you're in real estate, you're in the insurance industry, whatever you're doing, you're serving cupcakes, whatever you're doing, whatever your passion is. I think we need more people to realize that, like Rodolfo said, that you have God-given gifts and abilities, and to say, hey, let me put it in a box here and say, hey, I have to go to college and get a 4-year degree. I have to study this and go work for 30 years for somebody else. Why not take these skills, talents, and gifts and monetize them to build something for yourself by serving others?
Yeah, amazing there. By the way, for those of you that's watching this on live stream, we've crossed 365 live stream viewers. We've smashed 300. Let's see if we can get past 400, shall we? Let's see if we get past 400. We're just testing the capacity of the first ever podcast, PHP Agency Podcast. And for those of you watching, please participate. What was your American dream graduating college? What were you thinking about getting a degree under? What were you thinking that if I get this degree, I'm going to do this to make this? I'm going to school for business. I'm going to go to school for liberal arts. I'm going to school for engineering. I'm going to school for, biology. Okay. And then I'm going to get a job doing this to make this. Let us know in the chat box below what you thought that was going to be for you when you were a young teenager at one point going to school. Now, let me flip the turn. Let me fit this. Chris, Rodolfo, did you ever think in a million years that you ever have a chance to become a millionaire? Or Rodolfo, in your sense, did you ever think you'd ever become a cash flow millionaire?
Never, man. Never. Go ahead, Rodolfo. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish it.
Matt, so I was talking to a mentor of mine just yesterday, right? And we're talking about salary and income levels. And he said, Chris, you make more than the average heart surgeon. Look it up. I'm like, do I? Think of the amount of years of schooling to become a heart surgeon in our country. The amount of expertise, knowledge, gifted hands, opening up about operate on the heart. And we're at $500,000 in income in our industry. And to think that I never thought in a lifetime that I could ever achieve that. I mean, the highest income earner in my household was my father. He made about $85,000 a year. That was a cap I ever saw. So in my lifetime, guys, growing up as a young kid, if you cracked 6 figures, you were King Kong in the family. I have an aunt that made $100K a year working in healthcare. She was King Kong. She comes to Christmas, birthday party, she walks in, it's like, okay, yeah, she's the one that everyone knows to respect because she's the highest income earner. And to know that entrepreneurship does that. What do we have here? As we're here, look at this, 300K to 17K salaries. It's crazy. Crazy, look at this here, man. And to think that, man, the truth.
What did you make last month, Chris?
I made $54,000.
Rodolfo?
Yeah, 6 figures.
It's great. The insurance industry. And here's the better part. We'll get into this here later on in the show. You know the biggest winner is in our business? The biggest winner is our clients. The biggest winners are customers. And I got some stories to share with you guys. Sadly, later on here, I want you to share. I'm going to share with you a tragic story that literally happened two nights ago. The importance of insurance, but we'll get into it in a second. Stay tuned for that story. But think about this: a heart surgeon, a cardiothoracic surgeon, makes between $300,000 and $7,000 to $10,000, of which half of that's going to go away in taxes anyway. But yet you're in charge of somebody's heart. Goodness gracious. Okay, so Let's take a look at this real quick. Since we're on the internet, 9 industries most likely to make you a millionaire. This is median.com. Let's go to some industry, top 10. Let's go to top 10. Top 10 industries most likely to help you become to become a millionaire. Food. Okay, you got to feed people. You need scale. You need a lot of employees. You need a lot of capital. And hopefully you don't get anybody with an upset stomach. Okay, but you need a lot of inventory. Good thing about that, food's not going away. Right. Number 8, energy. This is where my engineers come into play. All the guys good in math, energy, solar, wind, right? Power. People need energy. Now you just need money and government permits to get you to put up a wind tunnel, nuclear power plant, all that good stuff, right? If you have millions, you can make millions. Transportation, entertainment and recreation. Get yourself a hotel. Okay, start your Chris Rodolfo. You can be the new Netflix, the new Hulu, the new Uber, Airbnb, the next DoorDash. Okay, education. Check this out. Okay, with all the technological advances that are happening now, it's just become very critical. People want to learn. You know, one of the things I take, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, it's called Masterclass. I download the app. You pay $100 a year. You learn for a bunch of people. So tops in their. By the way, tops in their field. Education doesn't always have to be academic. Check this out. We'll be there. Education doesn't always have to be academic. You can get an education without getting a college degree. Ooh, that was kind of deep. Okay, that was a soundbite, right? Number 4, real estate, construction. You can become a millionaire there. Number 3, healthcare. We just talked about heart surgeons a minute ago. Number 2, technology. You know, the new Google, Facebook, Apple, but talk beyond that. We're talking about robotics, artificial intelligence, automation. Okay? And guess what's number 1? Guess what's number 1? It's the easiest one to get involved. You know why? I'm in it. Who am I? I'm a United States Marine, 8 years in the Marines, no college degree, no sales, business, insurance background. And yet, myself and my colleague here, Rodolfo Vargas, making 7 figures a year, and Chris Hart soon to be making seven figures a year, and Chris Hart soon to be making 7 figures a year this year. Number 1 industry is what? Financial services. Woo! Number 1 industry most likely to make you a millionaire. You know why? There's money to be made in money. Money to be made in money. Before we switch over to topics, Rodolfo, Chris, when you're entering your communities, the Latino community, African American community, people that's or middle income folks, people that's been overlooked and underserved by the typical insurance industry, the typical financial services industry. Because every time you think about financial services, you think about Wall Street, you think about those movies, think about high end, you think about brokers and stock brokers and people that got a lot of money. And you're just talking about common Joes. At one point, Rodolfo, you were a common Joe. Chris Hart, at one point, you were a common Joe. Rodolfo, let's start with you. What comes across your demographic when you're running your business? What comes across a lot of people when you start educating them about finances?
Yeah, whether it's finances or becoming an entrepreneur, of course, we have some limiting beliefs. I had some limiting beliefs. I didn't know that I could do something like this. I didn't believe in life insurance. I mean, you're talking to a Hispanic guy, like we didn't believe in that kind of stuff. Okay, we don't believe in savings. We believe in spending, but we don't believe in savings. I tell you a couple of things. For our community, we've been, or for any other people too. So sometimes we've been in a box. We think that IQ, if somebody has a high IQ, what is the IQ? IQ was invented by a French scientific that one day he says, you know what, I'm going to ask some questions to some people, and we're going to find out if they can answer these questions, and we're going to name it the IQ. Oh, this person has a high IQ, so this person is going to do great in life. Oh, wow, interesting. So how about me? Maybe I don't know how to answer those questions, but I can be smart or intelligent in other things. Maybe I'm not great in tests, but I'm great in empathy, and I know how to relate with people. There are different intelligence. There are kinetic intelligence. There are empathy intelligence. I can name like 90 different intelligence, language intelligence, reading intelligence, getting along with people. You know these people that know how to get along with others super fast. So whoever is listening to this, don't think just because somebody told you your community, in order to be successful, you need to go to school, you need to do this, you need to do the other one. Right now, there is so many ways to use your intelligence. And right now, the world is changing so fast as well. So many distractions too. There's so many new things coming on. That was Bitcoin. The other one is Ethereum. I don't know if you watch this guy named Beeple. He sold an NFT for $70 million. How crazy is that? So there is so many new things going on. I think that we all need to find something that we saw that. Let me tell you what I did myself. Let me tell you what I did. And if you ask me what happened, how do you become a millionaire? I think I was blessed to have a good mentor. I'm going to tell you that part. I was blessed to have a great mentor. I believe I put mentor above industry. I put mentor above product. I put mentor above company. I had a great mentor. Sometimes we need that mentor who tell us, you know what, you can make it. You know, a kid, before the age of 12, he has heard over 150,000 times more no than yes. Meaning we have heard more, you cannot do it. What do we hear the most? No, that's impossible. You cannot do this. You know, when I was growing up, I said to one of my family members, I like that car. It was a Corvette. And in Spanish, they told me, se vale soñar. You know what that means? Here's what that means. Yeah, you're dreaming. Like, I hope you're dreaming. Oh, keep dreaming, but we're never going to happen. So I had a good mentor who told me, you know what? I think that you can do something special. I think that I'm going to give you a strategist. It's not only belief. Sometimes we need somebody who gives us a strategies and give us, okay, and it has to be a mentor that is ahead of us. So I was blessed to have a mentor. I believe that's important to become a millionaire. And the other part that I tell you, for everybody that is listening, you know, you were showing those figures about this person, the engineer, made this amount of money, or this person makes this amount of money. There are levels, okay? There are levels. You know how, in Espanol, we call it, hay niveles, okay? There are levels. So let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes we get into our life, or we get into a business, or we get into an industry for survival, okay? And yes, you ask me, hey, how much money have you made? All that kind of stuff. That's cool. But I didn't get started for those reasons. I got started at the beginning to survive. I just needed to learn how to make an extra $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Make sense? And that's survival. So that's the first level. I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs, they need to get to that level first. You know, some entrepreneurs that says, you know what, one day I'm going to become a billionaire. One day I asked this dude, what's your goal in life? I want to become a billionaire. No, bro, you need to pay your bills. That's what you need to do right now. You need to pay your apartment. Okay, that's survival. So sometimes we speak this big of a language, and sometimes, okay, listen, you need to survive first. Yep. The second level that I learned from Pedro David, my mentor, is, listen, it's lifestyle. I remember when I started making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a month. Oh my gosh, I can have a really nice car. I can go shopping over here. I don't go to the 99-cent store anymore. I can go to Whole Foods. And I promise that was a big deal for me. It's a lifestyle. Yep. It's like you start feeling it. You start buying the suit that you like, and you don't have to buy everything on sale. And that's a lifestyle. There is another level. There is a lot of people who stop in lifestyle. It's a lot of people who says, you know what, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to have a good lifestyle. And once a week, go to a nice restaurant and have an easy life. Okay? But forever have to work, forever have to sell. And this is when the system comes. And this is when the strategies come. That's the next level. It's called the freedom. Freedom is, I knew you, Matt. I mean, the other day when you show us, you know, yeah, Rodolfo, we make 7 figures, but whether I sell a policy or not, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you go to Hawaii, but you can get and pay. You open your account, you open, ooh, I just got another 40K. That is the freedom. Is can you maintain your lifestyle without having to show up? But there is a higher one. And I know that that's where you're going next, because you mentioned about and that's when my business went to my head, it went to my heart. You mentioned you're about to do that because you said that you have a story and it's purpose. When you say, you know what, yeah, I get it. Yeah, but how many people make $1 million? Or how many people are financially free? And that's what my mentor did. My mentor is not somebody, he really cares about Rodolfo. I want to make sure that you have your dreams accomplished. I want to make sure that you accomplish your goals and dreams. And usually in, I don't want to say like, not all the business, obviously, but some businesses, it's only about, you know what, as long as I'm okay, I don't know if you're going to be okay anymore. Like you can do whatever you want. So in here, I found that there is a real purpose. On the leadership side, hey, you know what? I really want to help you go and achieve your goals and dreams. And also in the client side, I mean, I know what it is to deliver a policy. I know what it is to what we do for families, the significance that it is when somebody passes away and somebody gets sick or the market crash. You know, there is a lot of people thinking, you know, what if we have another crash in the market?
Yep.
And the client never doesn't lose any money. So for me, it goes from, you know what, I'm doing something for the community. I'm doing something for that 22, 23-year-old guy who didn't have a mentor. You know, we're doing something for the family who didn't have a policy. So those are the 4 levels. And I'm going to tell you, if it wasn't because of the mentor, I would have stayed in survival for a long time. Okay. That's what I would have stayed.
What Rodolfo was just mentioning, folks, survival, freedom, purpose, all these things, the levels of income. For those of you PHP associates, you can find that and many of Rodolfo's content in the back office, as well as the PHP Agency blueprint that we have right here. By the way, Rodolfo, you got some pretty pictures of you in here, man. There's some pretty pictures of you and your mentor, Patrick Bet-David, our mentor, Patrick Bet-David, that's in here. And it's great to be in business with you. Again, PHP blueprint for those associates that they just started with us. And for some of us that have been around for a while, again, refresher on obtaining the blueprint and doing some training for there. So, by the way, guys, we want to see if we can crack 400 here on the live stream. So if I figured out how to give a shout out, if you tell me that you shared this video, I will give you a shout out here. I'll mention your name. I'll give you a shout out here on this live stream. By the way, this is a live stream. This is not produced. We're doing this live. Our first ever, we're doing this live. You know why? Because we got nothing to hide but everything to show. That's PHP. If you shared this video, you shared this podcast, I will give you a shout out here in the next few minutes after we hear from Chris Hart. Chris, talk to us, man. When you're in this industry, when you never thought you'd be a life insurance agent. Now you got a business that's thriving, that's making you more money than heart surgeons. What's the first thing you're seeing when you're affecting the community that you come from that sadly with the rest of the life insurance industry has overlooked and underserved the multicultural middle class? What do you experience on your end?
Absolutely. Man, I was spoken about this topic on stage in front of a couple thousand people. It's deep to my heart. Being an African-American male in this industry, being a millennial, some of the stats speak loud. You know, as an African-American, we account for about 11 to 12% of our population, but 1% of the wealth. This is a huge gap in our country when it comes to the wealth gap, when it comes to our community. And what I found in our industry is this: the biggest challenge is that education about money, education about life insurance. The number one life insurance sold to African Americans is final expense. What does that cover? That covers a funeral. That covers a casket. That covers 10, 15, 20 grand. Is there any generational wealth there? There really isn't. And so the challenge is understanding what life insurance can do for us. 1, 2 is a representation in that industry. And so when it comes to a product, when it comes to a service, we're also talking about purpose being the highest purpose of serving something. This industry serves those who serve others. I believe 100% those who serve the most always earn the most. And so in this industry, you have to serve to earn. And so when you look at the bigger companies out there, the bigger firms that have been around for hundreds of years, they have a hard time accessing my community. And so if I'm working in an environment where I can educate my community, Matt, every day I show up, I hop on a Zoom call, I'm teaching my community about money and finances, the 3 ways that money grows. How does money grow? What are the 5 homes of money? all right, what can I put money into? How does life insurance work? What's a term policy? What's a ROP term? What's a ULYUL? How does that work? I'm educating my community, Matt. And what's crazy about it is this: I'm fulfilling my purpose. I'm bridging that gap of financial literacy in my community. And at the end of the day, I'm making good income doing it. And so, our biggest challenge is here: how do we convince? How do we persuade? How do we lead more individuals to say, hey, you know what, man? I'm a minority. You know what? I'm a Gen Z. I'm a millennial. I wouldn't mind getting involved into an industry where I can serve others, bring value to my community, in the process, make really good income. And because I'm telling you, you're going to talk about some stories in life insurance today, and it's crazy to know that, okay, cool, I can impact a life for an hour at a time, educate them, and walk away and get paid a couple $1,000s from $1 billion company just to protect their family, to put a contract in place that guarantees, hey, when his wife passes away, $500,000 is going to these kids. That's generational wealth. And I think that's the real thing, the real key. I think as African Americans in all walks of life, I don't care if you're white, Black, Hispanic, Latino, for your family, for your community, the best way to establish wealth, the best way to establish a legacy is to, one, protect your family. And life insurance does that, Matt. And I think that there's a huge need for making it cool again, making it sexy. I mean, I'm looking at this, we're life insurance agents. We're not wearing suits and ties. I mean, I'm wearing some tennis shoes here. You're probably wearing a pair of J's, Matt. If I know you, you're probably wearing Jordan right now. And so we don't always resemble the typical life insurance agent, but we resemble America, which now gives us an opportunity to say, okay, cool. My mission here at PHP Agency is how do I bridge that gap in my community? But at the end of the day, here's what's needed. All families need to be served, whether you're white, Jewish, Latino, African American. And guess what? At the end of the day, we're about distribution. Some of my largest brokers are African American. They're Hispanic. I have a Caucasian couple in Ohio, Greg and Beth Smith. They are killing it in their community. Bill Corman here in Annapolis, Maryland. Greg Brown, newly promoted broker here in Maryland. And so the diversity allows us to reach more people. But more importantly at all, like I said, Matt, me being who I am, being the millennial in our industry, I love the fact that I can talk to my community and educate them on simple concepts and get them to change their thinking when it comes to life insurance.
Gotcha. You know, when we're thinking about, by the way, I want to give some shout outs. I promise you guys give some shout outs. So Jonah Pearson, Maxine Hernandez, Usha Fleming, Dominus PHP. Who else was sharing this as well? Ooh, I just passed it up here. Paloma Diop, Jihan Garin, The Wealth Brainery, Tone Padrino, Ray Kendall. Who else out here who shared it? And Quinette Allen, Aricia Wilson, Miss J. Worsham, Miriam Rivera, Veronica Gonzalez, Nicholas Hernandez, PHP Princess, Alyssa Aguilar, Kevin Burgos, Manuel De La Torre. Guys, let's talk about this real quick. This is a funny topic that we get a lot of, right? All three of us were recruited. Let's talk about this R word. You want to get to know about PHP Agency? We love this word called recruiting. And here's why it's important. Let me share, because I'm about to transition into a story about life insurance, because I'm so glad somebody recruited me into the life insurance industry. Let me talk about it. Okay, here we go. And by the way, I can't believe the time has just flown by so fast. We're about to cap off here. But gentlemen, I'm going to ask you about a life insurance story from the two of you. I'll start it. I'm going to ask an insurance story from you guys that you're glad somebody recruited you because you were able to serve or help somebody either with a job through the pandemic, income through the pandemic, or in the worst time of their financial life and their family's life, a tragedy happened and you're able to provide some resources through the insurance policy. I'll start with myself as you guys cycle this story. I'm a single dad at one point. I got 3 kids. I got custody of my kids. I'm so glad somebody recruited me into this insurance industry. Fast forward, 14 years I spent as a producer. All I did was buy leads, do dinner seminars. That's all I did. Until I faced this thing called burnout. Leads. Oh my God. I was at 130, 140% confidence. Oh my gosh, I still got to sell. Burnout. Until I learned how to scale, because I realized I was self-employed until I learned how to build a business. Thank you to PHP Agency Blueprint. Okay. Fast forward, in the last 6 years, we've earned a little over $6.5 million. We started with PHP in 2015. Two nights ago, we're just working out, and didn't realize that the news came in just last night, but 2 nights ago, one of our agents, they got recruited into the insurance industry. He didn't stay in the insurance industry, but he qualified for this thing called Fast Start School. I don't know you guys know about what Fast Start School is. We know what it is, but part of that qualification was to obtain a policy. He obtained a policy. You know, he said, you know what? I got to focus on other things right now. My marriage is on a fritz. I need to go. I need to just do Uber instead. However, he keeps the policy. He keeps the policy. Before we met him, never had a policy before. Dad, at that time, 45 years old. Dad, marriage is on fritz, you know, whatever the situation was. I don't know. He didn't get involved in the business, but he bought a policy. $57 a month. Nobody ever approached him about life insurance. Sadly, 2 nights ago, thing that we've been experiencing a lot here in Chicago is gun violence, carjackings. Sadly, 2 nights ago, he got carjacked. Sadly, he was murdered in the streets on the south side of Chicago driving Uber. The first phone call we made was make sure he had an active policy. And guess what? Thankfully, he kept the policy. The policy's active. Sadly, he's leaving a family behind. But there's anything else. We're so glad somebody recruited him into the insurance industry to be aware, at the very least, to get a policy. And at the very least, now he has the opportunity to at least leave something financially behind for his family. And that's why I'm so glad. We talked about money earlier, but the person that benefits the most from what we do are our clients, our customers, the people that we serve, and the people that we help in the marketplace. Because again, this happened on the south side of Chicago. I'll tell you this, the traditional life insurance industry is not helping people on the south side and west side of Chicago. It's not helping people in the hoods. The average face of the life insurance industry does not look like a Rodolfo Vargas, does not look like a Chris Hart, does not look like the faces of PHP Agency. Rodolfo, Chris, I'm wondering, has something like that similarly happened to you?
Yes. But let me go a little bit deeper. What you were talking about bringing on board new people into the industry. So, and then I told the story about what's going on, what happened to me recently, and it's going to be a little bit different story. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry to hear that what happened to one of your teammates. So there are levels. Okay, there are levels.
Sure.
On how you want to become an entrepreneur. It can be in our company, it can be in other companies, it can be in different industries. There are some people that start in an industry. Let's just say like this, you know what? I'm gonna try real estate. I'm gonna try to sell car insurance. I'm gonna see if I can do something with life insurance business. Like me trying to do this as a hobby. Have you ever had a hobby before? I try a hobby. I have tried hobbies before. Have you ever tried golf? You try golf and you want to do a hobby? You spend money. You go to the club to buy the clubs and do the kind of stuff, the registration to the club and everything, and you pay, and then you find out you didn't like it. I found out I didn't like it because I suck, and I wasted my money. I spent money, didn't waste it because at least I went out to the club. But so many people, they become entrepreneurs, and they are not entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs. So they're treating anything as a hobby. Have you ever gone to a gym and you see this guy that is always on the phone and trying to do workout? They're also always on the phone, and you look at him and just looking at the girl. He's just a hobby. He's not working out. Okay. Number two, there are some people, and this is big, by the way, is people are employees. They become entrepreneurs with employee mindset. And the employee mindset, they're always waiting, or they're always asking questions. Imagine I'm becoming a realtor and say, you know what? I just want to work from 9 to 5 from Monday through Friday. What type of entrepreneur are you? If you're an employee, you're thinking that you're an entrepreneur, but you're just treating this as an employee. Become an entrepreneur. The number 3 is the self-employed. You know, you were self-employed, Matt. So you were self-employed. Self-employed is me. As long as I'm good, I'm okay. As long as I am selling, I'm good. So for the longest time, I was also self-employed. So I don't care too much about the team. As long as I'm selling. You know what I mean? It's like the problem with becoming a self-employed. If I don't sell, I don't make money. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want it to be a self-employed. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And for me, entrepreneur is bigger than self-employed. That's it. I didn't want it to be the chef at the restaurant. I wanted to be the owner of the restaurant. I wanted people to come to my restaurant and say, welcome to my restaurant. I didn't want it to say, you know what, I cannot see you because I need to go cook. I didn't want it to do that. I wanted to become an entrepreneur. That's the reason why we bring on board agents, because I want to have a company. Everybody that runs a company have people that work with them. Not for him, that's a misconception. We work together. I work with you, not for you, with you. We work together to build a company. What is a company? Company is not a room. Company is not a building. Company is people. We are company. We are the company. And the last one is professional. Yesterday, I posted an Instagram a story. I was leaving my office about 11, and I did it, and my brother was over there, and we were taking a video on the Lamborghini. And somebody texted me, oh, you were so late getting out of the office. Brother, I'm a professional. Like I don't think that, imagine Messi, I'm a big soccer fan. I don't think that Messi's wife called Messi, why are you playing on Sunday? Why are you doing a meeting why are you playing on Saturday night, Messi? Please come. I think that Messi's wife says, go baby, let's go win. Because he's a professional. Now, that is a choice. Not everybody wants to be a professional. Not everybody's at the level of becoming a professional. So I wanted to be a professional. So the question is, for the people listening, who do you want to be? Do you want to be a hobby? Just treat us a hobby. We can be friends. We can be friends, but you're not professional. Employee, always asking questions. Why? Why do I have to do this? Employee. Self-employed, it's only you. It's only me. I'm making money. No, brother. How many people are making money with you? By the way, if that was your goal to be self-employed, be left alone. What's the possibility to be self-employed? No accountability, live alone. I'll leave you alone. So the last story I tell you is this. People think that life insurance is only for when people die. So I have this broker in my office. Her name is Natalia. Natalia let me know, listen, my brother just got a stroke, 41 years old. And really? Yeah, he bought a policy. This policy had a living benefit type of policy, meaning what? If the client gets sick, diagnosed by chronic, terminal, critical, the client gets access to death benefit. He received a death benefit, I believe, $138,000. Just paid for a couple months. My gosh, when I'm looking at that kind of stuff, I say, you know what? By the way, he's okay now. He came to the office the other day. I'm so happy to see him. So, what we do for families is so powerful, so powerful. So, which level you want to play? That's the question, right? There are levels. I cannot hear you, Matt.
No, you're on mute.
I'm saying, bro, all I care about is making sure whatever level we play, I could travel the world with you and jump off of sand dunes. It's our first company. We were talking about company trips at the beginning of the show. We do this everywhere now. I think the last one we couldn't do it because Ceci was pregnant. The one before that we couldn't do it because Sheena was pregnant. And now Ceci's pregnant again. So, but this is in Dubai. This is our first company trip in Dubai. Rodolfo, great to partner with you. Call you fellow professional, call you partner, at the same time also call you friend. Chris, what's your 2 cents, brother, on insurance?
Absolutely, man. We have multiple stories. The one that comes to mind is we're working with a company that was a nonprofit insurance company. One of our partners here at PHP Agency, and unfortunately, the story goes this way: an agent of mine in Southern California was closing out for a promotion. Right, we have something called closeout here, and she's looking for people that she knows that may be interested in life insurance. So a friend of hers gets a policy. The friend gets a policy. Here's what's crazy about it, Matt. She gets a policy, a simple term policy, through a company for a $100,000 death benefit. She's approved that tobacco. So she's like, oh, the rate went up a bit. So my agent calls her back and says, hey, if the rate went up, are you okay with it? She's like, yeah, sure. So she gets drafted the policy. She texts the agent a couple of weeks later and says, hey, you know what? Changed my mind, cancel the policy. It goes up from like $20 a month to maybe $45 a month. Right? So she says, okay, Matt, the following weekend, before it's even canceled, unfortunately, her boyfriend murders her.
Oh.
She leaves behind a 4-year-old daughter, and the policy pays out. The policy paid out, $100,000 death benefit paid out. The crazy thing is this. This took place on the closeout when we're looking at helping out clients, the terminology we have here at PHP. The agent takes care of one of her best friends. The individual passes away. Initially, he said, hey, I don't want insurance, did not value it really. She happens to come from my community. She's African-American female. She's young. She was in her early 20s. Didn't really value life insurance, but we never know when we'll be called, but we never know what can happen in life. And what's crazy about it is that her mom comes to the office in tears, thanking us for insuring her daughter, not knowing that her daughter at age 24, 23 will pass away from a horrific accident, a horrific thing that took place of a murder. And but what's crazy about it, this company is a nonprofit insurance company, and this daughter has an opportunity to not only have a death benefit taken care of for her, but also has an opportunity where college is taken care of, $8,000 a year towards college. And so we're working in an industry where there are so many financial products available to you out there that bring value. The challenge is we need more people like Rodolfo Vargas, more people like Matthew Sapaula, like Chris Hart, myself, to say, okay, we don't mind going out there and going full charge into this crusade in this noble industry and protecting the people who deserve protection, but protecting the underserved.
100%. You know, when I think about these type of stories, let me ask you guys this final question before we wrap up. Before PHP Agency, before you guys got involved in the insurance industry, was the insurance industry heavily recruiting you, asking you to interview for their insurance company to say, hey, join me at XYZ insurance company?
No.
Were they doing that to you? Rodolfo, were doing that to you?
Never. Can I tell you one more story on that? Why is that so important?
Yeah, please.
No idea. You have no idea, Matt, what powerful of a question that is. No, they never reached out to me. You know why? Because I didn't look like. Because I didn't look like. He couldn't speak in English. It's like this guy grew up in Detroit. He's an African-American kid. He's the dumbest kid in the school. Everybody thinks he's the dumbest thing in school. And one day he goes to school. The teacher asks a question. What is this rock? Show a rock, right? What is this rock? And the kid says, the rock is called obsidian. Wow. And all the kids are like, how do you know the name of that rock? You were the dumbest kid in the school. Well, it's obsidian. Let me tell you about obsidian. And he started talking about obsidian. And nobody knew. I mean, the teacher just asked a question to ask a question. This kid, his mom, doesn't know how to read, doesn't know how to write. His mom told him to start reading books. He go to a library, start reading books. The teacher sees that this little kid, 10 years old, his name is Ben, start paying attention. You've been reading? You know what? You're going to do something special with your life. I promise you, I'm going to pay attention to you. You're going to do something special with your life. I promise you, you're going to do something special. This kid grew up to become the #1 neurosurgeon in the world. You don't know his name. His name is Dr. Ben Carson. One person changed his life. Nobody thought that this kid was going to be the greatest neurosurgeon. Nobody thought that you were going to be one of the greatest people in the industry, Matt or Chris or yours truly. Nobody thought. Nobody reached out to me. Why would you reach out to an immigrant working as a security guard? Didn't have any license. Now, if I were to have my license, of course, everybody reach out to me, right? Not right now. So guess what? Somebody might be listening to this. You might be the next Ben Carson. You might be the next Michael Jordan. You might be the next Matt Sapaula, the next Chris Hart. You might be the next Patrick Bet-David. You might be the next rockstar in your industry. But somebody needs to spark that fire. Somebody needs to spark it. I was so thankful that Patrick Bet-David and PHP found us, because if not, wouldn't be here.
100%. So I'm so glad somebody put me on a list, called me and put me on that list to help us change our lives. And so, guys, as I wrap stuff up, guys, we just blew through the first episode of the PHP Agency Podcast, man. And for those who've been watching this, I'm so glad you took the time to participate in episode 1 of PHP Agency Podcast. But before I let you go, a couple of videos I want you guys to check out. Number 1 is how to create wealth during the pandemic. Please check this out, How to Create Wealth During the Pandemic. That one is hosted by yours truly. And the second one is a video that I did a while ago. It's probably one of my most watched videos, is 10 reasons why I chose insurance versus real estate. Think about this real quick. There's more real estate agents today, licensed real estate agents today, than there are actually homes for sale. Think about this. There's more agents today than are inventory of properties to sell. So the typical agent out there, they may not have a house to sell.
That's crazy.
Right, Chris? And by the way, Chris, have you ever run out of life insurance?
No.
Rodolfo, have you ever run out of annuities to sell?
Never. No. So many clients.
It's correct. So many clients, not enough agents. And that's why if you are interested in what we do, how we do it, if you'd like to find out more about PHP Agency, check out these 2 videos. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, PHP Agency. You can find us on IG, PHP Agency. You can find us on Facebook, IG, PHP Agency. You can find us on LinkedIn, PHP Agency. We do this once a week, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm excited for many of you to hear next week's episode, hosted by our business partner, Marlene Gaitan, the founder and creator of the TGA organization. She'll be next week, next Wednesday. So you'll be hearing from her in the dynamics she's going to bring. She's going to do a great job next week. So I can't wait for her to host episode 2 of the PHP Agency podcast. If you want to get in contact and learn more about what we do in the greater DMV area, make sure you follow Chris Hart at Sold Out Servant on IG. If you want to find out more about what we do in the Houston area, find more, make sure you connect with Rodolfo Vargas. Rodolfo, what's your handle on IG? Just make sure I'm not
Rodolfo Vargas Official. Rodolfo Vargas Official.
Rodolfo Vargas Official on Instagram. If you want to find out more about PHP in the Houston area too as well. So with that being said, make sure you drop your thoughts, your comments, and follow questions below in the comment section. But if you're watching this replay, for those of you watching us live, thank you so much for participating. We almost cracked 400 today. That's our goal, to crack 400 live viewers of this podcast. So make sure, again, to subscribe to our Facebook profile, IG profile, YouTube channel. Guys, thanks for joining episode 1. On behalf of Chris Hart from the DMV SOS organization, on behalf of Rodolfo Vargas, on behalf of the WTP organization, I'm your money smart guy, the host of this podcast, PHP Agency. And until we meet again, continue to help people, continue to love people, and continue to change your lives today. With that being said, guys, till we meet again, let's do this and let's have a great week ahead. Bye-bye now.